Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel today. If you're new here, my name is Bill. If you're not, thanks for checking in again, guys. I appreciate all the views you guys give us, all the time that you spend watching our stuff. It really helps motivate. So I started working today in the garage, and I completely forgot that I didn't shoot an intro today before I did anything. So unfortunately for the intro, car's already on the ground. The footage you're about to see, the car's still gonna be in the air here in a minute. So the plan for today was to get the suspension button back together on the car. The coilovers were hanging in there on the white car. I didn't put the spindle bolts back in through the struts or through the coilovers themselves because I was planning on putting the 13-inch brakes on right away. I kind of drug my feet a little bit and I haven't pulled the spindles apart yet. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll get that done probably tomorrow. And then I will get them to my powder coater so we can go ahead and get those baby shot in some black real quick just to clean them up. And then once I get those back, then I'll put them on the car. But for now, I just put the wheels and everything back on it. Got the car on the ground, that way we could roll it over so I could open the doors far enough. Get the glass out, we're gonna cut the rear doors so we can go ahead and get some weight out of the car. And then I'm going to just pull the front door panels and try and clean that all up. And then we are also going to remove the mirrors. We always flipped them in anyway to get them in and out of the trailer and going down the track. If they did anything at all, I don't really know. I highly doubt flipping the mirrors is gonna make a half a mile an hour difference, but weight's weight regardless whether way you want to spin it. So the plan is take the mirrors off. I'm going to get some carbon fiber and then I'll get some panels made to go ahead and block the holes off. So that's pretty much all I really had in mind for today. So like I said, unfortunately I didn't film the intro, so the car is already on the ground. All this work is already done. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start rolling that footage from what we did today. You guys will be able to see what we did, how we did it, and also when I had the glass laid out and how I set it up to try and trace the window on a piece of cardboard so I could actually get a template made for the Lexan. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and roll all the footage and we'll get you guys caught up to speed with everything that we've done up until this point. So we got a template made for the Lexan back window. It's actually coming out kind of good. There's a lip that we're going to use to fix the Lexan to once it's in the car. So we're going to use that to bolt it in, and then the pressure from the glass from the Lexan should hold the run channel in. I think I'm going to cut it off right here, but I want to get it in there first and see how it's going to be. If it's solid enough, I'll cut this off, but if it isn't, then what I'll end up doing is I'll just bolt on a little bracket to go from here to here, give this some support, and I'll do the same thing on this side. That way we're not worried about those channels and the glass flexing and popping out and creating some issues for us later on. I know it's not what it's supposed to be, but once it's actually attached, it'll kind of sit out. I mean, there'll be a little bit in the corners that kind of poke out a little bit. So I stuff that shit in there, but so I mean, it'll be a tiny bit, but as a whole, I mean, I got my template made now, so all I really got to do is I got a sheet of Lexan here. It's actually the front cover from a pop machine. A guy that I knows somebody that was servicing them and had some Lexan that they took off of a cover, and he said, oh, it did probably work for some shit. So he grabbed it and ended up, it sat in his garage for a while, and I was over there one day picking up some parts, and he goes, hey, you wanted to do some Lexan in the windows in the car, right? And I said, yeah. So he said, well, I got some Lexan in the garage, you might as well just take it. I've had it for a while and I ain't using it. So, and I said, oh, okay. I said, if you're not using it, I'm sure I could find a use for it. So what I'm gonna do now is I have the mirror off of driver's door. I have the panel off, obviously. I don't think we're gonna do Lexan with this side. I think what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm going to leave this window power so I can actually close it because the trailer that I have, the car sits too low and I can't open the door when the car's inside the trailer. So I gotta Bo Duke it and climb in through the window. That's why I got the quick disconnect steering wheel and everything on the car. It definitely helps with being able to load and unload the car in the trailer. I mean, it looks cool and it feels really nice. I mean, if I would have been able to climb in and out of the car with the stock steering wheel with no airbag, I probably would have went that route. But the quick disconnect makes it that much easier, especially when I put the roll cage in. That's going to be huge. So, let me go to the other side here, see if I got enough. Oh shit, trip over my stuff. I don't think I have enough room to do the front, but I should have enough room to do the rear. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and pull this door pad off, get the glass out of it, get the door cut. I don't have to make a template for that side because they're going to be the same. It's just one as the other. So I'll just lay the template out, cut it, and then lay the template again, cut that, and that'll be both sides. So that is fortunate enough there that they're the same from side to side. And then I'm going to get a piece of carbon fiber and I'll cut a triangle out here, and we'll I'll find some way out that I want to fix that. I don't really want to do the double-sided tape. I'm not really a fan of that. I'd hate for it to just come peeling off going down the track at about 130 miles an hour or so. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'll just get a small headed screw and a washer, and then I'll just use the factory mirror fix points. I'll just put bolts through it, and then I'll wow, can't talk, I guess. I'll nut and bolt it to this side, put a little bit of silicone around there to help seal it off, and do the same thing on the other side, obviously, because drag racing, we don't really need mirrors. I'm not looking behind me. We're worried about what's going on in front, and that's about it. If I can see out of my door, I got a problem, but it is what it is. I am still waiting for my ram air horns, or bell mouths, to show up. I did order them, and I didn't realize that they were coming from the UK when I ordered them, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with shipping. I got to check the tracking number on it. They were supposed to be here yesterday, but again, I never really did check the tracking on it and see it an update. I figured coming from the UK that the customs would hold it for a couple of days, and I guess we'll see. I don't know if they're going to keep the package and test it or something like that, but when it shows up, we'll definitely clean it, just because of the issue they've got over there in Europe with the coronavirus, and we got it here. So I mean, anything that's really being shipped, you guys should be disinfecting before you start messing with it. But yeah, so that's where we're at right now. Like I said, I'm not going to do any cutting on the front doors because I do want to leave power windows, and at least in this one I'm going to leave the window in that one. I'm not going to hook it up. I don't really think I'll ever want to roll it down, so I'm just going to kind of just take the door pad off, and that'll be whatever weight reduction I pull on that. That's no big deal. So got my template done. That was kind of a big deal. So now I can go and borrow my dad's jigsaw and go ahead and get that Lexan cut. I'll cut both sides, like I said, but I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm just going to go ahead and get the door panels off the other side, and then we'll go ahead and start cutting away on the other door if I can get it open far enough. And then once I'm done with that, I guess I'll probably just call it a night for now. Didn't really get a whole lot done, but you know, it is what it is. Got to relax once in a while. Working from home, it was kind of weird, but mentally exhausting for some strange reason, I guess. And I just had to find some motivation to get off my ass and get out here. So we're out here. We're getting a couple things done, and like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start taking the passenger side apart, get that side ready, see if we can get it in a position where the Lexan won't be too much further behind, and then maybe we'll get it cut tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. Tomorrow I am going over to my buddy Josh's house. The guy from Ohio that's coming to help us, Josu Soto, is going to be there and help us try and diagnose why we have no cam and crank sync with the AEM Infinity, so we can try and get that guy figured out. And then hopefully we can get that super started, and then we can go over, we'll button up the brakes, check the fluids, drive it up down the road, make sure everything else is going to be okay. And then maybe see if we can get a base mech with about 4 or 5 pounds in there, do a small gate spring, and then put it on the road, make a couple part throttle pulls, or wide open throttle pulls after a couple part throttle pulls, I guess. And then see where the trims are with everything. And if everything's looking okay, fuel's looking all right, we're not breaking up, we're not going, you know, we're not going lean or anything crazy where it looks like we're losing fuel pressure because of a pump issue or a restriction or something like that, then we'll go ahead and get everything scheduled up with the dyno and get that car tuned. But man, I can't wait for that thing. It is going to be a riot when that car's done. So definitely keep an eye out for that, guys. We'll be doing some footage on that one for sure. Once we get the dyno and everything scheduled, we'll take some time off work and we'll get her down there and let Josu work his magic and see what kind of number we can make. We have an expectation. We won't really talk about it yet. We'll save that more or less for when we are ready to actually go to the dyno, and then we'll see what Josh thinks it'll make, and then we'll talk about it more in a video. But it is going to be a pump gas stock 1J with some BC. I think they're 264 degree camshafts. I'm not sure. It might be 272s, but I think they're 264s. I'll have to double check with him. And it's got crawler hardware, just stock rod, stock piston, with a whole set HX35 that has a billet 67mm wheel in it. But yeah, so we're gonna keep going. So, got the door panel off that door. I got the harness stripped out of it. That window is probably just going to stay up the whole time, so we'll never worry about rolling that one up or down. This one, we got the door panel off. Got the other side cut, or the inside cut. Got the molding off the outside. I got a rubber wheel. We'll go ahead and we'll knock all that stuff down with. Same thing with all the black goo that got left behind on the front doors. I'm going to go ahead and we'll get that all that stuff knocked off. I do still have to take that little metal bracket off from the door that holds the door panel on. But other side's in. Template's made. That door stripped down. I'm going to use a small lead from the harness itself. I'm actually going to use the connector and I'm going to run a couple wires out. And then I'm just going to probably end up using a power probe. That way I can power and ground it manually. Put it up and down. Probably won't dick around with trying to put the switch and everything back in. I guess if I feel like it, I will. It just depends on how I feel when I get there. But like I said, I got to order some carbon fiber. I got the mirror out of that door, but I'm going to go ahead and I'll get it cut. We'll get that piece made. I got my Lexan right here. I just got to get borrow a jigsaw from my dad, and then I can go ahead and use the template I got here to cut it. I actually probably make that a little bit wider just so it pushes the rubber back, or the weather strip back out. But I'm pretty happy with how everything come out. I'm gonna guess we pulled in the neighborhood of somewhere around, I'd like to say 35 pounds at least. I'm hoping to see it, 40 would be okay, but I'm hoping to see at least 35 when I put on the scale what I actually removed today. So that'd be both window regulators, both pieces of glass, both the pieces of metal that I cut out of the doors, the door panels, all 4 door panels, and both the driver's mirrors, but both of the front door mirrors. All right, guys. So I took everything inside. I got it all weighed up, and while I was weighing stuff, I realized that I had completely forgot that I never actually did weigh the dash pad that I took off of the car. Just the top piece there with the boost gauge, basically just the closeout panel to clean it up a little bit once you get it installed. But so the weight of everything we had, the dash pad itself was 8.6. The door panels, the hardware, the brackets, the mirrors, the trim, and the one speaker that I forgot was in the passenger side front door, all of that together was actually 31 pounds. The metal that I cut from the doors was 9.4, and the glass from both doors together was 12.8. So today, including the dash pad, we actually removed 61.8 pounds from the car. That's just, so even without the dash pad, I think the math came to 53.2. Just what we took out of the doors. That's not cutting the structure bar or anything out of it yet. I believe that there were people on the forums that saying that bar was somewhere between 5 and 10 pounds. We'll cut it off at 7. So that's another 15 pounds we might be able to remove from the car, from just in the doors that we've taken out. Now that intact with everything else that I've been keeping track of. So this car with the wipers, everything before we cut it out today, obviously, with the driver's seat, carpet, full dash with the heater box, the car was $23.75 race ready with about a quarter tank of fuel without me. So all of that in consideration here, the carpet was 20 pounds. The wiper motor and speakers that were in the doors and the rear deck lid, other than the passenger one, was 15 pounds. The dash and the heater box were 60 pounds. The Mopar exhaust that I had on the car was 22 pounds without a tail section. The seat loss difference that we got going from the stock seat to the Kirky seat is 30 pounds. So all of that before today, what we took out of the car was right around 147 pounds. So if you add what we've taken before and what we just took out today, including that dash pad, we're at a total of 202.8 pounds. So by the math, that would put us at about 2170-ish. Sorry, neighbors driving by, garage door is open. But that would put us right around 2170 with nothing else. There has been weight removed from the headlights. Obviously, these are significantly lighter than they used to be. Each side, I mean, there's between the two, we might be talking, I'd like to guess somewhere between 3 and 4 pounds in the neighborhood of that. By the time you get the reflector bowl and all the glue and all that shit that you take out of them, they're significantly lighter. You pick one up and you're like, wow, it's way lighter than you expect. But yeah, so I mean, there's another few pounds there. Going from the fuel tank to the fuel cell, there's probably, I'm gonna guess, by the time you add the weight of the pump and everything that's in the tank here, the tank itself is, well, Actually, give me a second. I'll grab a fuel tank and I'll find out what it weighs. I think I weighed the Preunto cell and it was like 3 pounds, 3 or 4 pounds maybe. But give me a second here. I'm gonna climb up in the rafters. I got a fuel tank I'm gonna grab, and I'm gonna grab that weight real quick. So just bear with me here. All right, guys. So let's see what I am before. Let it reset. That ain't right. I was leaning against the fuel tank. I was taking some weight off. Let's see what I am here. All right, 201.4 with the fuel tank. Okay, 219.6. So 201.4 to 219.6. Damn, 18.4 pounds total. So that's just the tank. Let me see if I put on Instagram how light the fuel cell was. That's where I was earlier trying to get the numbers that I had before. Let's see. Apparently it didn't. I mean, the cell, it's not heavy. The cell is probably, let's shoot high. Let's say 4 pounds. So let me go ahead and I'll plug that number into my thing here. See where we're at. So it's 147. So we'll do fuel tank was 18.2. So that would actually bring me to 221 pounds that we've lost. So fuel tank, the dash, the heater box, the carpet, going to a Kirky seat from the factory ACR seat, tank to cell, which I think I already said, the Lexan for the back windows, the material that I cut out of the doors, all the door pads, the mirrors, the dash pad, what else was there? Oh, the wiring from inside the driver's doors, that was in there as well. But yeah, so I mean, everything together, 221 pounds that we've taken out of the car so far. So by the math, we're almost 2150 without the cage. So there's really not a whole ton that I don't think I'm going to be able to pull out at this point. Going to the smaller brakes and smaller wheels, I don't know what the difference is going to be on that one. I guess I could weigh them. I'll weigh the calipers and I'll weigh the rotors and see what the difference is there when I get them. Or, well, the rotors anyway. I already have the calipers, so I guess I could go ahead and dig some stock calipers out and then dig the regular base model calipers out and see if there is a weight difference. But I'll do all that together when I do the brakes. That way, everyth's there. I'm not trying to get some information in and then look for it later on. So currently, it's crazy. We're almost 2150. So if we can lose another 5 pounds in the brakes, that would give us a comfortable 2150. And then I also still have one more thing I can cut out of the car, which is the tire tub. And what I'm going to end up doing when I cut that out is, turn the light on here. I got all that stuff in there right now, but I'm going to cut it all out, and then I'm going to do a sheet of aluminum over it to cover that up. And I'm expecting the metal from that tub to probably weigh in the neighborhood of, I'd like to say 15-20 pounds. So I mean, if that's where we're at, then we should be pretty close to 2130. And then by the time we put the roll cage in the car, we're probably going to be, with the 10-point and the tube that we're using, I'd like to say we're going to add less than 100 pounds back in the car by the time we box it, do all the welding and put the bars and everything in it. So it's going to be a 10-point out of 1 5/8 dole call. It's 083 thickness tube, so it's really comparable to what chromoly is, which I think is like 1.37 pounds per foot, I think, on the 083 tube, 1 5/8. I'll double check that number. I'll put that in there. So if I'm wrong, I'll actually post a number so you guys know exactly what it is. But so by that math, I know how many sticks I need to get where we're at, so I can do the rough number. So I mean, I think I needed like 66 feet of tube to do the 10-point cage in here. And by the time we get all that and we weld it and we box it, I'll probably just go ahead and do the math for the whole 80 feet because we're gonna get 4 20-foot tubes, and then we'll cut and everything off of that. But so yeah, I'll just do the math on that once I actually figure out. Like I said, I'll go in there and I'll look and I'll figure out exactly what that weight is per foot. We'll do the math. I'll post that number, let you guys know, and then that'll give me a rough number of what to expect once this guy is ready to go back on the track. Like I said, with the cage, without me, the ultimate goal for the car was to be 2200 or less. That's my personal goal. If it's like 2250, I'll be pretty happy with that. If it's 2150, I'll be really excited. But mind you, I still have front glass. The windshield is glass. I still have the wiper shelf. I could cut that out if I want. I also have the shelf here that goes over the back. So I mean, that's probably another 20 pounds if I really wanted to start hacking away at the car, which I might, by the time I put the cage in, I might take and I'll cut that shelf out. That is a good possibility actually. And then I'm thinking about taking a set of junk taillights I got, painting them black, and then do like an LED light in here just so I have a running light for when we race at night at the track. That way they have a thing they can idea. It's a rule, when you race at night you got to have at least one light on the back of the car so they know where you are before they send the next pair down. There's probably another 50 pounds I could pull out of the car pretty quick if I decided to really get the saws out. And like I said, I could cut the wiper shelf. I could cut the tub out of the back, which is in the plans. I could cut the shelf that's over the back seat under the glass, which is the plan. I could also eventually go to Lexan in the front window. So ideally, I could probably get this car to weigh easily in the 2100s with the cage if I decided to do all the rest of that. But I don't think I'm gonna currently. Also, I did forget. I'm going to go ahead and pull all the brake lines out for the rear because, sorry, I got something stuck in my throat and I don't know what the hell it is and my drink's inside. But so we're getting rid of the factory parking brake, and I'm gonna end up pulling all of the stuff that's out in the brakes in the back. So the shoes, the cables that go all the way, all the hardware. There won't be that resistance against the rotor. And when you adjust it, you naturally have that drag of the shoe against the rotor. That way you can actually get the parking brake to hold the car enough to do a burnout. Well, what we're gonna end up doing is I'm going to get rid of, like I said, the rear brake lines, pull the parking brakes out, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna run some A-line inside of the car, and I'm gonna use the staging brake. And the staging brake is just something that's gonna be in line that will go to the rear calipers. So I will be able to brake normally through the staging brake, and then I can also grab the rear brakes with the staging brake and use the calipers to hold the car instead of the parking brake. So we're reducing friction against the drum inside the rotor when we're driving down the track, as well as the weight that we're going to get rid of there. So that in turn is going to be huge. So even if the staging brake assembly itself weighs 5-6 pounds, we're probably going to look at pulling 15 to 20 pounds out just in the rear brake lines, with the difference to go from a staging brake, or from the factory parking brake to a staging brake, on top of the friction that we're going to pull away from it. I mean, ideally, we're probably in a really good spot to see something under 2,200 pounds by the time we get the roll cage in, once everything else is done. So this is actually, it's getting pretty exciting, guys. But I finally got out here. We got the doors cut. Like I said, I got the suspension swapped over, so now we got the drag racing spring rates. We're making moves. I got the template made for the Lexan. I mean, it's just getting pretty cool. This car is going to be insanely light. So thanks for checking in with us today, guys. If you haven't already, definitely hit that subscribe button here in the bottom right of the screen. Shoot us a like on the video if you like what you saw today. Any comments with anything you'd like to see further. You guys have yourself a good one. Stay safe, stay clean, and we'll see you at the track. Thanks.